You might have heard the new announcement from SCS Software. They're preparing a demo of the PlayStation 5 version of Euro Truck Simulator 2 for next month's event in Japan, Tokyo Game Show 2026. Yes, Euro Truck Simulator 2 on PlayStation 5. That's a big deal. But I know what a lot of American Truck Simulator fans are asking. What about ATS? Are they bringing American Truck Simulator to Tokyo as well? And that's a very valid question, because SCS is developing both games for consoles. So why are we hearing about ETS2 first? And does this mean the ATS version is behind? Well, I don't think it's that simple. There are several things we need to consider. First, the Tokyo Game Show announcement has obviously increased speculation that the console versions could be getting closer to release. We're now talking about an actual playable demonstration of ETS2 on PlayStation 5. Not just a trailer, not just screenshots. A demo, people are potentially going to sit down, pick up a controller, and actually play the game. That's a major milestone. But here's where ATS comes into the picture. I don't think the American Truck Simulator PlayStation 5 version is necessarily far behind, and there is a very interesting reason why SCS might be choosing ETS2 for this particular event, Japan. Think about Japanese trucking culture. The trucks you commonly see on Japanese roads are very different from the classic American trucks we have in ATS. Japan is known for its cab-over trucks. The cab is positioned directly above the engine. That's a completely different design philosophy from the long-nosed trucks we're used to seeing in American Truck Simulator. Think about trucks like the Hino Profia, Isuzu Giga, Mitsubishi Fuso Supergreat, or UD trucks. They're built around that cab-over design, and if you've spent years playing ETS2, that layout is already very familiar. You jump into a DAF, a Volvo FH, a Scania, a MAN, a Mercedes-Benz Actros, or a Renault, and you're sitting much closer to the front axle. The cab-over configuration is part of everyday trucking in Europe. So, for SCS's first major appearance at Tokyo Game Show, ETS2 makes a lot of sense. It's a product that Japanese players may immediately understand. They can look at the truck, look at the driving position. Now, that doesn't mean Japanese players don't like American trucks. Of course they do. There are people in Japan who love American trucking. There are people who prefer the big Peterbilts, Kenworths, Freightliners, Volvos, and those massive long-nose configurations. American trucks have their own following around the world. So I'm not saying ATS wouldn't make sense in Japan. It absolutely would. I'm simply looking at the situation from SCS's perspective. This is their first time attending Tokyo Game Show. And if you're introducing your games to a new audience, you might want to start with the one that has the most obvious connection. And that's Euro Truck Simulator 2. Again, that's just my view. SCS hasn't said we are showing ETS2 because Japan prefers European trucks. They haven't said that, so we shouldn't present it as confirmed information. It's simply something worth considering. And there is another factor here. The amount of content these games have accumulated over the years. This is something we shouldn't underestimate. ETS2 and ATS aren't small games anymore. They have become enormous. There are years of updates, map expansions, trucks, cities, industries, gameplay systems, and graphical improvements, and SCS isn't simply putting the existing PC version onto a console. There's a lot happening underneath. We've already seen the new user interface. We've seen the work being done on the engine. We've seen improvements to memory management. We've seen systems being adapted for console hardware. And all of that takes time, because a console version needs to work properly. It needs to be optimized, it needs to be stable, the controls need to feel right. The interface needs to work with a controller, loading needs to be managed properly, memory usage needs to be controlled, and the huge amount of DLC needs to work together. That's another big challenge. And when you look at American Truck Simulator, the amount of map content is enormous. ATS has received a huge number of map expansions over the years. California and Nevada started the journey. Then we got Arizona, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, Utah, Idaho, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, and more states continue to arrive. That's a massive amount of content, and every DLC adds more than just roads. There are cities, industries, assets, vegetation, traffic, scenery, road networks, interchanges, special landmarks, and all the systems connected to those areas. That's a lot of data, and it all has to work together. ETS2 has a huge amount of DLC as well, but ATS has been expanding incredibly quickly in recent years. So when you look at the console versions, there's a lot to integrate, and SCS can't simply say, here's the PC version, then put it on PlayStation. It has to be optimized for the hardware, and that's why I think the Tokyo announcement is so important. If SCS is confident enough to show ETS2 running on PlayStation 5, then it means they've reached a point where the project is becoming suitable for public demonstration. That's very encouraging, but it doesn't necessarily tell us that ATS is months behind. The two versions can be developed alongside each other, while still reaching milestones at different times. And there's another possibility. SCS may simply be choosing to showcase one version first. That's completely normal. You don't have to show everything at once. They could show ETS2 at Tokyo Game Show, gather feedback, make further improvements, and then show ATS at another event. Maybe we'll see it later. Maybe we'll see it at another major gaming event. Or maybe SCS will eventually show both versions together. We simply don't know yet, but I think it's important that ATS players don't look at this announcement and immediately think ATS is being delayed. We don't have evidence for that. In fact, I'd argue that this announcement is good news for both games, because the technology being developed for ETS2, the interface improvements, the engine work, the memory improvements, the controller support, the console optimization, these are all part of the bigger console project, and both games benefit from that work. So when ETS2 reaches the point of being playable at Tokyo Game Show, that's a milestone for the entire console project, not just ETS2. And that's why I'm watching this very closely. Because September is going to be interesting. People will actually get their hands on ETS2. We'll hopefully see gameplay footage. We'll see how the interface works. We'll see how the controller feels. We'll see how the game performs. And maybe I will get some clues about ATS as well, because once people start playing the PlayStation 5 version, we're going to learn a lot. And I know the biggest question will remain. When is the release date? That's still the question. SCS hasn't given us that answer yet, but we're getting closer to the point where the game can be demonstrated publicly. And that's a very different situation from where we were before. So if you're an ATS player, don't panic. The fact that SCS is showing ETS2 first doesn't automatically mean ATS is far behind. There are logical reasons why ETS2 could be the better game to showcase in Japan. The cab-over-truck connection, the European-style trucking experience, and the fact that this is SCS's first appearance at Tokyo Game Show. It makes sense as an introduction, but I'm still waiting for that ATS announcement, because when SCS finally puts American Truck Simulator on a PlayStation 5, I think the reaction is going to be massive. Imagine starting up ATS, choosing your favorite Peterbilt or Kenworth, and taking it onto the massive American road network, with a controller on a console. That's what a lot of players have been waiting for, and we're getting closer. We just don't know exactly how close yet. So, what do you think? Do you think SCS should bring ATS to Tokyo Game Show as well? Or do you think starting with ETS2 makes more sense for the Japanese audience? And how close do you think the console versions really are? Let me know in the comments, because the Tokyo Game Show demo could give us some of the biggest clues yet, and I'm definitely going to be watching it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.